hemodialysis patient, but it is also the Achilles heel. 44% hospitalizations are related to the vascular access, and in fact suboptimal vascular access increases mortality by 23%. So it's a huge issue for hemodialysis patient, and it's by consensus we all agree that AV fistula is the best vascular access. However, AV fistula itself has few issues. The minor, which are predominantly related to the cannulation, though we call them minor, it can be a major problem for a particular patient. And in fact, around 1/3 of the patients have this in the back of their mind once they go in for a hemodialysis unit. It could be associated with the pain and discomfort. It could have a cosmetic side effect of bruising. We can have excessive bleeding subsequent to the cannula removal. And it can be a difficult cannulation. A person who is having a difficult cannulation can be severely anxious. And it's not only the patient, it's the nurses, the technicians who are cannulating who are also anxious. So these might sound as minor issues, but it can be a major determining factor for the patient to take up hemodialysis or to even think of other alternative therapies and quality of life. Major issues are aneurysm formation, AVF thrombosis, stenosis, and high output cardiac failure and state phenomena. So these are the major problems with AV fistulas. And as I said, we invariably talk about the vascular anatomy and surgical techniques while talking about these major issues rather than the cannulation techniques. Now coming on to the cannulation techniques, well, it started off as in all dialysis units learning up with the site rotation technique. The site rotation technique basically follows rotation of the arterial as well as the venous side each time up and down the AVF using almost the entire length of the AV fistula. Well, it has been the gold standard for a very long time, right when the AV fistulas were described, because it was presumed that it would provide a good healing between the sites, it would prevent hematoma formation and subsequent stenosis. And since 1966, it has been the most frequent practice in the dialysis unit. The only downside is it requires a good AVF segment of at least 10 cm to have an adequate rotation. Well, this is in the diagram where I have tried to show a good AV fistula. We have a good length, and we have these sites which can be rotated for the venous and these sites which can be rotated for the arterial side. At any given time, we all know that the difference between the arterial and the venous side has to be 2 to 3 centimeters. So these are the presumable sites, and if we exhaust all the sites, we go back to the first one. So this is what needs to be done ideally in a site rotation technique. But is it done always? I don't think so, because with the amount of patients with diabetes, with proximal fistulas we are having, we don't have the luxury of such a good AV fistula segment, and therefore we tend to do a shortcut. We don't actually go all over the site, we tend to limit it to a particular area. We require a trained person to do a cannulation each time, because each time he would be using a fresh site, and because we are using a fresh site, there can be an issue of homeostasis when we remove the needle. So what actually happens in most of our dialysis unit is this: rather than using the whole of the fistula length, we tend to use a particular area each and every time the patient comes. It's easier to use, the patient also feels less pain, the cannulation is a lot easier, so any person can do it. You don't require a trained technician because the tracts is always formed. But what problem it leads on to is that repeated puncture in a very small area leads to the damage of the vessel wall. And that's why we have arteriovenous fistulas, aneurysms, we have stenosis and thrombosis. So this is what we call as the area puncture technique. So with more proximal fistulas, with bad vascular segmentation, we invariably do area puncture techniques. And this basically leads on to aneurysm and stenosis. So what alternative we have is a buttonhole technique or a buttonhole cannulation, and this entails cannulation of the AV fistula in exactly the same spot using the same angle and the same depth each time. What happens is you have a scar tissue tunnel tract which is formed, which allows easier cannulation and use of blunt needles, which I was highlighting earlier. And it was predominantly a fad or a thing which was frequently practiced in home hemodialysis setting. So in Europe it was practiced a lot and subsequently in Canada. But it started off with a very peculiar problem. It was first reported from Poland by Twardowski in 1975 to 77, first in Polish and then in English literature. What he faced was acute shortage of dialysis supplies, and that included the AV fistula needles, and he was forced to reuse them. So if you reuse the AV fistula needles, they tend to get blunted. And he found that if you use the same tract again and again, you can use those blunted AV fistula needles. And this is what he described initially in 1975 and 77. And this is how a buttonhole looks like. You have a well-formed buttonhole tract which can be used to assess the arterial venous site. Well, what this diagram basically shows here is the tract formation and then subsequently use of blunt needle. You use the same angle, the same cannulation technique each time, which leads on to a formation of a vessel flap because of the repeated punctures. And then actually you don't require a sharp needle. You can use a blunt needle, and by using the same tract, you can actually just lift the flap by the blunt needle, and without causing any further intimal damage, it can actually go into the arterial or the vessel wall without causing subsequent damage to the wall or the intimal hypoplasia. So what can be the advantages? The most important advantages which we can see immediately is it can be used in persons who have a limited vascular segment, and this actually can be a good majority population in our dialysis unit right now. It should decrease the pain, bleeding and hematoma formation, because what you now have is a dense scarred tissue formed, which would have less number of nerve endings, which bleed much little. And you can also use the blunt needles, which can do away with these problems. Because you have a good tract formation, it basically eliminates miscannulations, and therefore it can significantly decrease the patient as well as the technician anxiety. And it, as I already highlighted, by use of blunt needle at the same entry point, it can lead on to less vascular damage. However, the limitations are quite few. First of all, because you have to create the tract which follows the same angle of entry, the same angle of approach and the same site, it basically requires insertion repeatedly by the same person till the tract is formed, which is usually 2 to 3 weeks. So approximately 6 to 9 dialysis sessions are required to lead on to a tract formation. And in a running dialysis unit, it's very difficult to have the same technician available each and every time to cannulate the same person for 9 to 10 dialysis sessions. You also have to train the staff for a new technique, which can be a huge problem of the staff to uptake a new technique. The main problem of a repeated use of a buttonhole technique is presence of infections, which could be because of the scab tissue. Because that tunnel, as we saw in the photograph, gets covered by a scab tissue, which is at times infected and which can be difficult to remove. And because you are using the same tunnel tract again and again, it leads on to increased chances of tunnel and exit site infections, the same as we have in peritoneal dialysis. Because now we are talking more and more about buttonhole technique even in dialysis units, so few innovations have come in. This one is from Japan, and what they have is a pegylated polycarbonate peg, which has the same diameter as that of a AV fistula needle, but which has a blunt end. What is done is, once you remove the sharp needle in the initial sessions, you put in this polycarbonate peg, and this just abuts the vessel wall. So you have a dilator which dilates that tract. So the next time the patient comes for the dialysis, you remove this peg and you on the same tract can put in the fresh needle, which is the sharp one, till the tract is created. So this basically eliminates the need of the same personnel being present every time. So this can ease the formation of the tunnel tract. The other innovation is basically from the UK, where this is again a Japanese cannulation set. We saw that a few weeks back, one once a Japanese delegate came to our unit. This is a very interesting fistula needle. It basically has almost the same thing as a Winflon. So you can remove the steel part, you have a one-way valve here, so the blood does not flow back, and this is just like a Winflon, a plastic material which is inside. So what the authors have done is, they have kept this plastic material in the tract for whole of 2 weeks, and they give dialysis through this, and this results in an easier tract formation, again eliminating the need of the same person being present. The subsequent innovations have been on decrease in infections. The recommended method of disinfection has now been standardized, and this is what is being practiced in most of the units. A good soap and water wash. You paint with povidone iodine on both the arterial and the venous side. You wait for the contact time of at least 1 minute. Then place saline soap swabs at the scabs so that they get moistened and they get loosened up. And then you carefully dislodge the scab using a blunt needle. Because scabs, if present, can be a source of infection, especially the staph infections. After removal of the scab, you again repeat the disinfection protocol by using the povidone iodine. So this is now what is recommended as far as disinfection protocols are concerned. Few home hemodialysis centers in Canada have started applying mifepristone ointment at the exit site, both the arterial and the venous end, just akin to PD patients for 6 hours after the cannulation removal. Another very interesting thing which has been propagated is technique reinforcement. We have a study published in AJKD in 2011. This was from the UK. It was an observational study. In fact, what they had was a very interesting thing. They shifted all the patients in 2004 and 5 from the standard Brocrader technique to the buttonhole technique. And then they looked at the infectious complications and the effect of educational workshops. Well, this is 2004-5 when they did the study. Interestingly, though they had 3 centers, it was only 1 center which practiced buttonhole technique, and they repeated the other 2 centers were the ones which practiced the standard practice. They had 75 and 70 patients in each group. Since it was an observational study, they were not matched for dialysis vintage. The follow-up period was short, only 9 months. What they looked at was hematoma formation, bruising, aneurysm formation, use of local anesthesia, pain and fear perception of the patient, and importantly, they looked at the assessed surveillance and preemptive interventions in the 2 groups. Surprisingly, they found more missed cannulations in the buttonhole technique. However, there was significantly less hematoma formation, significantly less aneurysm formation, lower use of local anesthesia for cannulation, and importantly, there were fewer diagnostic tests and interventions in patients who were on buttonhole technique. This was approximately a 25% reduction in the use of diagnostic tests and interventions in the buttonhole technique, which was quite significant. However, the patients with buttonhole technique had more infections. Subsequently, we had a prospective cohort study from Canada, published in 2010, looking at 29 patients who were shifted to buttonhole technique and following them up for 3 months. They again looked at the hematoma formation, bruising, bleeding, missed cannulations, pain perceptions, and infections. The results again was decreased bruising, decreased pain, decreased bleeding complication, however, a 3 times increased risk of infections. This led on to subsequent randomized controlled trials. Almost all of them were single center. This one is from the UK, which looked at randomized control way, 28 patients in each group. They were matched for age, they were matched for diabetes, they were matched for the AV fistula age as well. It was a 6-month follow-up study. Again, they looked at pain scores, bleeding, bruising, infections, change in AVF transverse diameter, which is a precursor for aneurysm formation. And what they found was lower use of local anesthesia in buttonhole, lower point scores, similar infection rates, bleeding time, and significantly lower change in the transverse diameter, approximately 30% less. So again, this can be a significant marker that these patients would tend to have less of wall defects, less of aneurysm formation, less of stenosis. Then we have a single center study this time from the Canada, published in JASN 2012, a randomized controlled trial, 66 patients on standard practice versus 65 patients on buttonhole, 8 weeks follow-up, looking at almost the same set of things, similar pain scores, decreased bleeding, decreased hematoma, and again significant increased risk of infection, approximately double the risk of infection with buttonhole technique. Another study from Korea, which is a prospective cohort single center study, 32 patients, 16-week follow-up. They looked at blood flow rates which were similar, but significantly decreased pain perception by the patient and low stress on the nurses. Well, the only study which has looked at survival is still under press. It's just published in the American Journal of Kidney Disease on net, and this is from UK, basically looking at effect of buttonhole cannulation with polycarbonate PEG, that is a Japanese technique, in the in-center hemodialysis fistula outcomes. Again a single center study, matched for age, sex, diabetes, peripheral vascular disease, fistula site, age and use. 140 patients, a good follow-up of 1 year. The outcomes which they studied were primary AV fistula survival. Secondary outcomes were time to cannulation, access interventions, bleeding, infection rates, cannulation pain, new aneurysm formation, and enlargement of existing aneurysms. The patients with the buttonhole technique had 100% survival at 1 year as opposed to 86% with standard practice. Significant difference in the Kaplan-Meier analysis. There was significant decrease in interventions with the buttonhole group. Only 11 patients as opposed to 27 required interventions. Significantly less use of fistuloplasty, approximately half. So obviously the patients who were on buttonhole technique had better fistula survival, had decreased requirement of interventions. They had similar pain scores, though the 8 patients initially actually withdraw from the buttonhole because of increased pain. This is during the tunnel formation. So once the tunnel formation is there, maybe the pain perception is much lower. Cannulation time, as expected, was much higher with the buttonhole technique because you have to have a more elaborate disinfection procedure. There was a significant reduction in the aneurysm formation, 4 as compared to 17%, and there was significantly less enlargement of previous aneurysms in the buttonhole technique as compared to the standard technique, 23% as compared to 67%. Interestingly, this randomized controlled trial found no bacteremia in the either group, but there were 2 exit sites in the buttonhole group. This could be because of the more strict adherence to the disinfection protocol. Both the groups reported similar bleeding times. So we have very limited data as far as the buttonhole technique is concerned, but it's an upcoming technique which we can use especially in patients who have poor vascular access, poor segments. So obviously there is a definitive need to have newer cannulation techniques in view of more challenging hemodialysis population, more elderly, more diabetic patients which are now being enrolled. Buttonhole technique is an established technique in patients who have self-care, home hemodialysis setup. It has potential advantages in pain perception, ease of cannulation, and lesser aneurysm formation as compared to the standard practice. There have been certain advances in limiting the handicap of having one person doing all the cannulations initially by new techniques for tunnel creation. There have been certain initiatives to limit the increased infections which have been associated with the buttonhole, but the issues still remain. The patients are more prone for increased infectious complications. And we hardly have any data which looks at the long-term AVF survival as now to comment on the superiority of the buttonhole technique as compared to the standard practice. So in certain set of patients, it can be definitely a boon if we can use a buttonhole technique. Thank you.